Hello everyone, the purpose of this video is to compare the performance of the F-16A to the Gladius. So the F-16A is kind of unique because it was built to perform these sustained 9G turns. In future models, the ability to do that was kind of diminished, but the F-16A has been able to do it, and pilots have been able to handle it. I'll leave the discussion on whether or not that's reasonable or not for the forum thread that I'm making, but for this we'll just compare the performance of the two. So here we go. You've got the performance chart here, and it's an F-16A, right? So you look over on the right, it might seem a little confusing at first. So what you're looking for is load factor, and that's the number of G's, right? Okay, so you're like, okay, I want to do the 9G thing. So you find 9G, and it starts at the very top of the graph there. You follow that line down, and you'll see the curves there. Okay, so for sustained, it looks like at about 400 knots, which is getting close to the cornering airspeed for the aircraft. The aircraft can do 9 Gs. And that'll give it, and this is important, if you drag it over to the left, that'll give it about 20 degrees per second turn rate. So if you think about it, that means that in a 360 degree turn, since it can go 20 degrees per second, it should take about 16 seconds, or maybe just under 16 seconds to do a full turn. So you can see at 9 Gs, it corresponds, if you kind of look down, to about 400 knots. And it can sustain that, which is awesome, right? So I did the calculation, and that corresponds to about 206 meters per second. So doable within, the normal flight modes. What I am going to do is I'm going to enable ComStab, disable G-Safe so it doesn't mess with things. So with ComStab on, my speed will decrease if I pull too many G's. And you can see that happening here. I'm definitely flirting with it, which is good because that indicates to me that the ship doesn't have more performance. Basically, I'm riding the edge of what it's possible for doing. I'm also, like you can see me graying out, so I'm also riding the edge for basically sustained G's for my avatar. So it looks almost like the maximum number of vertical G's that the Gladius can pull is also the maximum number that my avatar can handle without basically going beyond like a slight gray out. So that's kind of convenient. And then you can see the result here is I get about 20 seconds, which is slightly worse than the F-16. And obviously this wasn't with boost, but here's another trial run, and then after that I have some examples of doing it at the full speed of the Gladius 2, and well, with the loadout I have, which is 235 meters per second. So enjoy those if you want to, but yep, about 20 seconds for a sustained 9G, or sorry, I guess it wouldn't be 9 Gs, but a sustained turn. So basically I know my ship is pulling less than 9 Gs. Alright, so I went ahead and did it with boost this time, and it's pretty interesting. So in this case, still getting the performance limiting, like I still got a drop in speed there, but most of the time I was fighting the Gs. And you can see it's kind of hard to get a sustained turn rate like I was able to do in the other one. So I wouldn't call this a sustained turn test at all. But you saw that, maybe I averaged a little bit better of a turn rate, and I got about 18 seconds, so still not quite pulling 9 Gs, so that's interesting. But you can see like what's limiting me here is the blackout, which is pretty cool. So without boost, limited by the ship's performance. With boost, probably a little bit more limited by the Gs, but it's not exact. You can't just say, oh, 9 Gs is the limit, because how long you sustain it matters too, and I was definitely not doing a sustained turn rate there. All right, so here, as promised, here's some tests at the full speed of the Gladius, and I'll leave the rest for the forum discussion.